Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mind Sparkle series. As usual, every Sunday we bring in experts from different fields, those fields which matters, those fields which are in the news, those fields that can create employment opportunities and career prospects for the coming generations, those fields which can create jobs and those fields which can create economy. So our series is a weekly series in which experts and domain people who are well versed with those fields comes and discuss with you. They discuss the different nuances of that industry. And please do not think that they are only experts of their field. Yes, they are experts of their field. But as you know, the world is interconnected, interdisciplinary, and one field is always related or interconnected to the other field. So they have a wide knowledge of the entire business scenario, the career prospect, the entrepreneurship. Everything is there for them to be asked. So taking these things into view, our Mind Sparkle series is to sparkle your mind, to innovate your mind, to open up the possibilities for your mind, to look beyond the obvious, to look beyond things which are going to come in the future, which may not be visible now, but in the future you will be able to appreciate those things. Keeping all those things in mind, today we have a topic on health sector, the career prospects in health sector. And what better to start it than with a person who has all the experience of a healthcare sector, and she is none other than our business development head for all of over India, Cleveland Clinic, Ms. Deepika Gandhi. She has a wide experience in healthcare sector. In fact, her first 10 years of her 20 years career in health sector was spent in US with Cleveland Clinic. She has done all aspect of healthcare in the best of the technological field, in the best of the traditions which a healthcare can afford to give, like in research, like in coordination, cooperation, and building up the digital enterprise for the healthcare sector. She has all that experience. And let me tell you, she is also a computer scientist, a computer information system engineer by profession, and she has done into healthcare, where she has merged technology with the healthcare sector. From 2015, she has been in India leading this Cleveland Clinic business development team. And also, she's a director of another healthcare enterprise, IMAS, where she is bringing in experts from Cleveland and all the physicians from all over the world, especially US, and doing the telemedicine and video conferencing facilities for healthcare to discuss the complex cases. As you know, in this pandemic world, online consultation and diagnosis has become a kind of a necessity, where technology can give a lot of scope for available healthcare affordability and the reach, and first of all quality also. So all these three areas, quality, reach, and affordability, are the areas in which a lot of scopes are there for people, and as well as for the career prospects also. Keeping the entire thing in mind, and last of all I'll say that how things are interrelated. Deepika Gandhi is also a law graduate from Osmania University. And you can also appreciate the fact that nothing in this world is isolated. In healthcare, a lot of laws and privacy laws will come into the picture. So her expertise as a law graduate or a law person can help in framing a robust healthcare system and policies for our organization. So my earnest request to all of you is that never look things in isolation. You may not like the healthcare sector. You may think that I am just an art student or some mathematics student. I may not need a healthcare sector. But with Deepika's example, I can tell you, nothing is isolated. We don't exist in vacuum. We exist in interconnected world. So with this, I would like to open up this session with to Ms. Deepika Gandhi, and she has all the expertise to help you in understanding this healthcare sector and the prospects ahead. Ms. Deepika Gandhi, the session is yours.
Thank you so much, Shanavasji. I have never seen someone weave my educational background with my career so well and eloquently. So I really appreciate that. And, I've come to believe that, you are professionally, you're very successful, but, without a personal introduction, the introduction is never fully completed. So I do want to spend the next couple minutes just sharing my personal story. I was raised by two wonderful, loving parents. My father served in Indian Navy, and my mother had dedicated her life teaching science and English. So, I guess my love for science, passion for information technology is a gift of both my parents. And now I'm married into a family of lawyers. My husband runs his own law firm. My father-in-law, he was a high court judge in the state of Andhra Pradesh, and his grandfather was the first law minister of the state of AP. And with their support and encouragement, I was able to also complete my law degree. And my hope is that I could use this degree to help patients and hospitals with legal services, professional services in a pro bono capacity, down the line, because I do have a full-time job with a full-fledged hospital. Now, having said that, I do want to make this session very dynamic, keep it very informal. I don't know if we have the opportunity to ask questions during the session, or perhaps do you want to leave the sessions for later?
I think once you complete the session, we can ask the question answer. It will go on. Okay, the people will be typing questions. So first, let us complete the session.
Okay, yeah. So before we kick it off, I really want to acknowledge Shahnawaz ji's sincere contributions in the field of thought leadership. While I've attended a lot of webinars during the pandemic, they're very subject driven, technical. I've participated myself in plenty of webinars, but there's very few that actually impact the career seekers. So I really, think this is a wonderful opportunity that Shahnawaz ji is presenting, to the community. Having said that, other slides up. So the way I want to structure today's talk is maybe give you a little bit of introduction of the hospital that I work for, what my role is, what I do currently as the business development head for this hospital, and then, take you down the road of, what are the prospects of healthcare. So if we can just bring the slides up. I apologize, I was supposed to do it from my computer, but there's been a lot of power outage due to the rains in Hyderabad. If we have a few minutes, well, I can just go on, right? And we'll just wait for the slides to come up. Is that okay, Shahnawaz ji?
Yes, it is as per your convenience. We are absolutely at your convenience. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I work for a hospital called Cleveland Clinic, and I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this hospital, but it is a very reputed world-class leader in United States of America. It's the main campus, what we call the mothership, is located in a city called Cleveland, and hence the name Cleveland Clinic. This hospital also has presence in numerous locations. So Nevada and Las Vegas, we have one facility in Canada. We have a facility in Florida. We have presence in Abu Dhabi. And at the completion of our 100 years of the hospital building, we are very excited to be inaugurating the facility in London next year. And we are very looking forward to the London facility as well. Now, in terms of rankings, Cleveland Clinic is ranked as the world's #2 hospital based on Newsweek rankings. If you look at the US News rankings, it's been the #1 hospital in cardiac surgery and cardiology for over 20 years. And I would say these rankings are not just, for based on the pretty buildings and the facade that Cleveland Clinic has, but it is really due to the culture of Cleveland Clinic and the mantra that this hospital believes that patients come first. Patients first. And that's what, we've been groomed and we've been educated, trained to serve our patients. Now, having said that, what is my role as a business development head of this hospital? I relocated from Cleveland to India in 2015. And what I was asked to do was to really spearhead collaborative opportunities to educate patients on what technology is available based on Cleveland Clinic services and so on. So I would say, the services that we offer in India are threefold. One is patient services related. So if patients in India need a second opinion or they want to travel abroad for medical care, they approach our office and we help them with that. Now, the second bucket really is education. So we've organized a lot of training camps and workshops for physicians in India to educate them on the new technologies. And it's never one way. We ourselves as Cleveland Clinic learn a lot, from Indian doctors and specialists. And then the third big category that we're offering services for is the digital health portfolio. As Shanavas ji has mentioned in my introduction, we are very excited to float a company called IMAS Healthcare. This is the only company in India that is offering second opinions for patients from Cleveland Clinic. And it has taken off very well this year. We've been able to help very sick patients who are not able to travel abroad or, at the comfort of their home, get the best medical expertise. So in broad strokes, those are the three areas that, I help collaborate and I help develop in India on behalf of Cleveland Clinic. Now let's dive into the career prospects of healthcare sector. I want to, switch gears here and ask you all these questions, right? Just, give it a few seconds to think, what was the last time you were in a hospital, when you visited a hospital as either a patient or a family member? And I want you to start thinking about your experiences, where you greeted, by the staff with a smile. Did someone, help you with the directions as you navigated the hospital? How was your admission process? How was the discharge process? Were you informed of what was going on with your patient, with your family member or yourself, in terms of your diagnosis and so on? And I don't need the answers, for these questions. I think we all know that it takes a very special person, a very special role, a very unique personality to be a caregiver. And before you consider a career opportunity in healthcare sector, what I would urge you to think along the lines is that of a caregiver. So, back in Cleveland Clinic, whether you're an IT professional, whether you are a nutritionist, whether you're directly related to a patient care activity or not, we were all caregivers. So that's one thing I would, urge you to think along those lines, that whatever services you do in the healthcare sector, one way or the other impact a patient. So yes, there is a deficit. There is a shortage of healthcare staffing in India. And if my slides were up, I would have shown you some data as to what the ratios are: the doctor to patient ratio, the nurse to patient ratio, the lack of pathologists, specialty pathologists in India. It is a perfect storm waiting to happen, because on one side, we have growing healthcare demands. We all know, if you look at the data, there was a very interesting study by the company called Practo, based on last year, that the number of visits, average visits to a hospital has increased. We are very proud that, we are a young nation today, right? I mean, the mean age is around 28, 29, but that's going to continue to raise. And then by year 2050, we are going to be in that bracket where the risk for sedentary lifestyle disease, diabetes, cardiac disease is just going to continue to grow. So on one hand, there is shortage of skilled workforce. And on the other hand, there is increased demand for healthcare needs. So I would say, yes, there is demand not just of full-time employees or, people that serve these hospitals, but what else is missing is that big human connection. Because, the hospitals are overflooded with patients. There's more patients than, what the doctors can handle. There is physician burnout. What is ending up happening is, at some levels, we're losing that human connection. So I cannot emphasize enough that if you do consider a career in healthcare, keep that empathy and human connection at the back of your mind. If you're a listener, if you're an active listener, if your personality has a lot of patience, you're able to think critically, you're able to multitask, then healthcare is a profession that, you should consider. Now, when I spoke to Shanavas, he said, Deepika, go through the width and the depth of, what all are the roles that, people can think of in a healthcare sector. And if you look at the ecosystem of healthcare, right, hospitals and clinics are a very tiny drop in the job prospects that this profession has. So you have, pharmaceutical companies, you have device companies, you have insurance companies, you have clinical research going on, artificial intelligence, data science. So the scopes and the possibilities are really endless. When I was a child and, we thought about pursuing a career in healthcare, it was, just meant to be for the nerds in the class, the ones who used to wear thick glasses and, who were bookworms. But I want to say, that mindset has to change, because, if you have a creative, innovative personality, there are plenty of jobs available in a hospital. Let me give you a few practical examples. Say you're a marketing person, right? And then you're great with creative works. You're good with artwork. You're able to design brochures. You wouldn't think of applying for a job in a hospital, but I'll tell you what, today, more than anything, we need creative people in the field of healthcare. So digital PR, communications and marketing is a very big department in hospitals that is always actively looking for a creative team members. Say you're good at writing. Medical writing or medical editor is one role where, healthcare magazines, hospitals, insurance companies are looking for people to write. So what I would urge you to think along the lines is not just focusing on the degrees that you get, right? But focus on the skill set that you have to offer. Say you're good with project management, or say you're good with operational efficiencies, you're good with writing, staying organized. The need is of, for the skill set. And if you are working directly with patients in patient-related activities, then I would say, yes, there is a need for certifications. There is a need for licensure. There is a need for you to stay abreast of training. But then if you're in an administrative role, and if you're, in a non-clinical role, then you have, you don't need degrees. You really need skill set and a mindset, to work in those areas. Thank you so much for pulling up those slides. I don't think I'll go back to the slides, but we can quickly review them. So we just gained the flow back. Right. Yeah, you can go on to the next slide. Is someone going to okay, great. So this is to just give you a picture of Cleveland Clinic and its locations. I have gone through the slide deck, but if you can see in North America, we have multiple locations. We have one in Abu Dhabi. We have one coming up in London, and we are very excited about it. You can see my picture for India. I'm very proud to represent this country and help out the patients and providers and physicians and hospitals in India to help build collaborations. Next slide, please. And again, I've gone through the rankings. We've gone through the fact that what I bring to this role is to bring the best from East and West, bring the best practices of United States, and offer those services, to patients in India. The goals of our meeting today, I'm not here, I just wanted to clarify. I'm not here to give you the exact path to, how do you become a physical therapist, or how do you become a nurse? What are the certifications? I'm here, to just get you to start thinking along the lines of, what else is possible, compared to the traditional healthcare roles. And also offer my connections and network and mentorship. If you are interested in a particular role, please don't hesitate to reach out. I can put you in touch with the right people who can, at least get you to observe, if this is a line of profession that you're interested in pursuing. This is just data to go about saying, the undisputed fact that there is a critical need for healthcare resources in India. And also the study of Practo that I mentioned, that there is growing demand, of healthcare services. And then this data reflects, the fact that, there is growth in sedentary diseases, women's health, PCOS, all the pollution that we're adding to this earth is only, going to grow the healthcare demands down the line. Yeah, if you can go back a slide, please. So yeah, so this is a video. I wonder if you can play that, click on that video. It is, we're talking about healthcare, and, we will have to mention empathy. This is a very popular video. This is a 3.5 minute video. Maybe we won't watch it all, but I want to give you a flair for, patients' perspectives when they're in the hospital. I can't hear the volume, Shanavazji. I hope everyone else can. I cannot hear the, if you can show it full screen. So basically what this video is doing is, as you walk around a hospital, right, there are patients, there are doctors, and everybody is bringing their own perspective. Somebody is waiting for a new heart for their transplant. Somebody is, waiting for, they just found out their 19-year-old son is on life support. So it just walks, goes about to say that working for a hospital requires empathy, that human connection. And before you consider the career in healthcare, this is something that we always urge career aspirants to consider. So this is a Cleveland Clinic Hospital. You can forward the slides, I think if you can't hear the sound, and I guess the video is a little slow, but I hope you get an idea, right? That when we are in the hospital, we are not in the best of our moods. We're anxious, we're nervous. And it takes a lot of patience and empathy to be in this profession. Whether you're a physician, whether you're a nutritionist, whether you're a pharmacist, whether you're a physical therapist, you're constantly interacting with patients, one way or the other, directly or indirectly. And if you can just bring to the last bit, right, of the PowerPoint. When you are at leisure and you have a few minutes, you can go to YouTube and just put Cleveland Clinic empathy, and this video will come up, and then you can just see. You'll have to watch this patiently. But what it says towards the end is, if you were in that patient's shoes, would you have behaved differently? You say if you're you're already in a hospital, it just makes you think basically that we will have to behave very differently when we are in healthcare sector. I think the PowerPoint closed. If you can bring back those slides. Can you hear me, Shana? So yeah, so back to where we were, right? About the width and the depth of healthcare sector and the offerings. I don't want to give you the details of every bit of the profession, say physical therapist or a nurse or a mid-level nurse practitioner, how to go about that training. But I want to highlight today, what I want to leave you with is there are two major ways to look at career in healthcare. One is, the direct patient related jobs, where you're directly dealing with the patient. And then you have the non-clinical, jobs, which are called, the ancillary services or the support staff. I feel it's always undermined, but that is a very large chunk of jobs that are available out there. So even today, if you Google for, support jobs, you will find n number of jobs which are not categorized properly. But I want you to think along the lines of the departments in a hospital, right? So like I laid out in my slides, it would have been great to have the slides in front of me, but, marketing. Then you have, IT. Information technology is such a massive and upcoming field in healthcare. And, with Indians, there is generally a tendency to think we're great IT professionals. We all make great IT professionals, right? So if you have a background and interest, a flair for information technology, there are a lot of opportunities for healthcare. So the technology division kind of overlaps with every department of healthcare. So be it engineering with regards to medical devices, equipment, maintaining the interfaces between different equipment in a hospital. If you look at quality department, we use clinical software to identify sentinel events, or to identify where we've gone wrong, the root cause analysis we use there. If you go to the patient experience department, we use computer software to collect data on what is it that patients want, right? So the possibilities are endless with just IT. I mean, I can just speak for an hour about just IT's role in healthcare, not to mention remote monitoring, or telehealth, which is taken off tremendously in this times of pandemic. And then towards the end, I want to also mention what the future holds, right? What the future holds for healthcare. I don't know if you people are familiar with the 3D printing or artificial intelligence, precision medicine. I can give you a few examples, just to showcase what the future holds. One is a procedure called TAVR. Without giving too much of the specifics, what our doctors are able to do is actually insert stent using a small catheter without even making a single incision. And the outcomes from these procedures are phenomenal. The length of stay is reduced. And what I want to emphasize is to create that team that is able to offer these procedures. It's not just a physician. There are engineers behind the scene. There are nurses. There are people who are writing algorithms to figure out, who's a good patient, who's a good candidate for these kind of procedures, and so on. Let's talk about precision medicine, right? I don't know if you've heard precision medicine, and especially cancer therapy these days. And what that is because our pathologists are able to stage cancers very well now, and they understand, we have a greater understanding of how these cancers behave in human beings. We're able to treat them differently. Every human being has a different response to cancer, a different response to medications. So precision medicine is looking at customizing these treatments to every patient. And again, to give you the same example, it is not just pathologists who are driving precision medicine. It's not just oncologists or doctors who are driving cancer care. The pharma companies involved in this, in clinical research and trials. There is a huge IT system that's backing these systems to deliver that kind of care. Let's talk about 3D modeling. What is 3D modeling, right? In healthcare, we are actually able to make molds of our human body parts before a procedure is conducted, to make sure that the actual, say example for a valve, right? We're able to create a 3D implant of a human's valve before it's actually being implanted, to make sure there are no errors. And the same technology is also being used to create prototypes of medical products and equipment. So there is faster turnaround time of the product delivery, and so on. So the possibilities, like I said, are endless. I want you to walk away thinking healthcare is for people who are creative, who are passionate, innovative. It's not just for doctors or just for nurses. And there is a lot to explore. Now with that, I'll open it up to questions. Like I said, I would love to engage with the audience in answering their questions, because the scope of this talk is so wide. I'd like to focus on what people want to hear.
Very well, Deepika. In fact, it was a very encouraging lecture. The most important aspect was that